Dragon Ballers, if you're looking to buy Dragon Ball Super or One Piece sealed product, make sure to get 5% off using my link to Mystic TCG down in the description. You can also sell cards to them using their Facebook link, which is also down in the description. Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. We are here with Alexander, who managed to get top 16 at, I guess you could say, the first regional post-Worlds. Not quite first regional set 20, but set 20 comes out soon. This is the last regional, last tournament of the set 19 format. So, Alex, first and foremost, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I'm so happy I got my invite already, and I don't have to worry about getting an invite the whole rest of the year.
Yes, absolutely. I can feel you there. So, yeah, you managed to get top 16 with Red Android 13. Funny enough, you placed 9th, I placed 10th this regional. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so close.
I know. Trust me, I know. But, okay, so 2 questions. Firstly, let's just start. Why Red Android 13?
So I wanted to build this deck. First of all, he's my favorite Android. Simply.
I can tell by your play, Matt, definitely.
Exactly. That should let you know already. He's my favorite Android. He's literally just a redneck. I love it. And my buddy Nelson at Locals, he put together a rough list, and he's a newer player, and he was playing it as a newer player who didn't really know what he was doing with the deck, and he was still going pretty crazy with it. So I'm like, wait, his deck might actually be ass. So I threw the deck together, and I had playtested. I've been playing it for like, I want to say a month and a half, 2 months straight on this deck. And I just think this deck puts out so much damage that in a blue meta, it has a spot in the meta.
Awesome. So my second question is, how do you feel it stacks up to like the popular red decks, like the Sin Shenron and the SS4 Gogeta? Do you feel like it's on par? Do you feel like it's got some weaknesses? Do you feel like it's advantaged?
Well, I actually wrote down my matches because I wanted to remember them because I always like to remember my matches. I played against 4 Gogetas today, and I won every game.
Oh, so you must feel like this deck just smashes Gogeta then, obviously.
Yeah, this deck has a really good Gogeta matchup because I forced Gogeta players to Z Awaken on turn 3 before.
Wow.
This deck can just output that much damage. It's ridiculous.
Awesome. All right, so why don't you give us a quick run through of the leader, and then we'll go into the main deck.
Yeah, got you. So the leader, permanent, can't attack on the front side. It's computer, can't attack. Active main, you rest it top 5 for any red android. Cost requirements, none like that. Just anything. You awaken when you're either at 4 or less life, or if you have one of these and one of these on your battle area or drop area. If you have them both in your battle/drop, then you just flip the leader to active mode like Sin Shenron.
Yep.
Untap 1 energy and go to 6. On the front side, on the back side, sorry, you have the auto, which is when you swing, you either play a 14-15 from your hand or draw a card. I never play the 14-15 from my hand. You just draw a card. It's better. You search enough in this deck. Then you have another auto on the bottom. It comes up occasionally, but it's really not necessary. But, I mean, it's nice. It says that if you play a red android, you can juggle one of your Z Energy androids. So you can drop a Z Energy android to choose an android in your drop to place in your Z Energy. Now, that doesn't normally come up, but sometimes if you don't see the duo, you need to juggle your energy to be able to play your guys.
Right.
And then they have a Z leader for the deck. He costs 1 energy. I hate that he costs 1. I've won a few of the games today without even playing this guy, but he is really good. Auto on swing, he plays a 1 cost, 14 or 15 from the drop area. The 14 and 15s become cantrips when he's on the field, so it's just like swing, play guy, draw 1. And then activate battle, he sacks a 13, 14, and 15 from Z Energy to give himself 5k double strike for the turn.
Yeah, I love how defensively that's like a plus 5k buff. That's really awesome.
Yeah, I use him more defensively than offensively, I'll tell you that, because this deck, red lacks defense like that, so
right.
Just beating myself is very helpful.
Awesome.
Now, the main deck is pretty straightforward. I have 4 of most of the cards, if not all of them. So this is 4 Android 13 Uninvited Yes. This one is just on play, search top 5 for a 3 cost or less Android card. So you can play some of the old like green cards, because there are some old ones that are green. And then he has an Union Absorb once per turn, not limit 1. That's a big deal. It's not limit 1. Where you can eat a 14 and 15 from your drop to play a 7 drop from your deck in active mode on top of him. Again, it's not limit 1, so you can resolve this as many times as your energy allows in a turn. Your opponent has to be at 3 or more energy. That's one reason why I said a ramp meta this deck is actually viable, because they ramp in energy, and then, oh, you're at 3 energy? Cool, I can start doing this.
True, that's a good point, yep.
And even if they're not ramping, because I played against a Bojack player earlier today who didn't ramp, and guess what? He didn't ramp. He wanted to ramp, and he didn't do the ramp, so he was just like at a back pedal because he was trying to play around this.
Right.
So even when you play around it, you're hurting yourself. The next ones are 14 and 15. They're pretty simple. 14 searches 15, 15 searches 14. When I have a Z leader, they're cantrips. It's that simple. They're also limit 1 to search each other, so you can't just spam them over and over. The next guy is Android 13 Villainous Threat. This is from the Magenta deck, but it's actually meant for this deck. You tuck it under any red android in your battle area, and it adds a 1-cost android back from your drop area to your hand. He also has another auto, never comes up, but if you play him for some reason, you can pop a 10k or less on your opponent's board.
Gotcha.
Then we have the uninvited guests. We have Android 14 uninvited guest, and we have Android 15 uninvited guest. So these guys, along with the invaders, have all the same play requirement. Where you tap 1, and then your opponent either chooses 2 of their battle cards and gives them minus 20k. So in most cases, they either kill 2 battle cards, or you play them and do something else. Like these ones, when you play them, you draw a card. This one doesn't draw, but it's dual attack. You almost never play this. You just Z-charge it because it's both names. This one looks for 14 in the Z energy to play it for 1. This one looks for 15 to play it for 1. So you want this in the Z energy the whole game.
Gotcha. So you feel like this is the adequate amount of 14s and 15s, like no more, no less?
No more, no less. Like, honestly, the uninvited guests, they might seem like a lot at first, but it's like you can constantly search your deck for them. You can just charge them, throw them in the Z energy if you need to. It's just like, this is correct. I don't think you play more of this. You never want to play this because it doesn't draw you a card.
Gotcha.
Next one is Android 17 Finally Freed.
Yeah,
this is like,
it's always good.
Yeah, this is basically like the Rage Shenron, Diet Rage Shenron from the Sin deck. They learned from Rage, so they printed this card. It's a limit 1. If I have Red Z Leader 3 or less, I play it in rest mode. It's critical. If it lives, then I have a critical swing. But it's just a free negate otherwise, which the deck desperately needs negates. Free the boss card. So we got Android 13 Total Annihilator. This card is absolute gas. I totally didn't think this deck was as gas as it was until I picked up this card. This card really threw it all together. I'll go over the little combo at the end if you'd like me to.
Sure. Absolutely.
But this guy is basically permanent, unaffected by red sands that have a battle power of 20k or less. That comes up actually. I didn't think it would come up that much, but it actually comes up a lot. While he has a 13 under him, and while the 13's under him, he gains dual attack on the permanent. On auto swing, he combos one from under him, so he goes to 30k. But he's a 25, so he gets another violent raise. So he's a 25 that goes to 30 and then negs a battle or unison by 25k. And that's not once per turn. So every attack he does that, he can kill it. So it's like, again, the Sin Shenron situation where you can't really token negate against this deck.
So, quick question. Is that the only 7-drop Android 13 you're playing?
That is not. So I was about to get to the next one, which is the green-yellow one.
Gotcha.
So the green-yellow one, this is for late game. You never want to play this early. And I only play one of it because it's dead if you draw it. I used to play it at 2. Horrible. Drew this card too much. Terrible. I still draw it too much. And so this one, you can still play off this guy because he just looks for a 7 cost, not a red. So you can play this guy. This guy says bottom deck 3 androids from your drop area, KO up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and then they discard 2. Making your opponent discard 2 after you're already swinging a ton with this card is actually gross. It's like ignorant. So late game, if I've ran low on these, like in a Gogeta matchup, it came up where he played Gogeta, he ran over 2 of these, and this one was in my hand. So this guy only plays from deck, so I couldn't play this guy. He passed, and I was still at 4 life, so I just played this guy. I told him to rip 2 of his 5-card hand that he had left, and I recycled 2 of these and a super combo, and then I just passed turn.
Man, you're putting those back in your deck. I just love the fact that you could play off-color cards in this deck. That was such a great thing that Bandai did when designing the strategy.
No, yeah, for sure, because this card's insane. People ask about the other green-yellow one, the one that's triple attack, but I don't like that card. I tried playing it. This is just better, that card.
Gotcha.
Then we play 2 little off-color 13 and 14s. So this one's a Upstart Goblin from you just discard it, and you draw 1 card. It's just both names while in the drop area, so that's helpful. It's just good. But and then this one is for slower matchups, which I didn't go up against today. Where you can pitch this and a 15, and you can pull up to 2 life, draw 1 card, and your opponent discards 1.
I gotta say, I'm a little bit surprised that only 1 copy of the yellow guy. I thought he was really good when I was testing the deck last meta. Did you ever try more copies? Like, you feel like 1 is just fine?
Yeah, the issue is I used to play 3/3, actually, of each of them. I prefer this one over this one.
Really?
The issue is that I was drawing too many off-color cards.
I see.
And it's just like when my hand looked like this, and like a couple other, like maybe my overwhelm or something, it was like really complicated to find my correct charge.
I see.
So I cut them down. I might put them back up later, but I think this was fine, maybe into next meta, because 21 is going to be a deck. It's going to be a bit of a slower format in my opinion. Maybe I'll put it back in, but
and how many cards in the main deck? Just curious.
I think I'm at 51.
Oh, gotcha. So very, very slim. Got it.
It might be 51 or 50. It might be 52 actually. I'm not sure, but it's somewhere around there. But yeah, no, I like them. It's just I prefer them.
Gotcha.
I prefer having the red cards for charge. Deck wasn't printed with a Unison. That's what you think. This was printed for this deck.
They already knew this Unison was going to be the right one. Yep.
This Unison's insane for this deck. So sadly, no SPRs for this guy, but I'm definitely going to pick some up. So this guy's insane because he just upticks on turn 2. You normally play one of these turn 1. Turn 2, you play the other one by upticking with this guy. And then you can uptick to play this guy. And then because this guy plays this guy on top of him in active mode, you don't care that this guy's being played in rest mode.
Yeah, they totally did that intentionally. Just like
it's super. It's super insanely relevant that comes up like that.
Yep.
But no, this is the correct Unison. You don't play any other Unison. If you're considering another Unison, just don't play a Unison.
Right.
Like, I'm not joking. 1 Yamcha, obviously it's Yamcha. Move this. We have 3 Dispo. So this is from Cross Spirits. Not a lot of people probably know what this card is, but it's a free negate if I Spirit Boost 2 off my Unison.
Mm-hmm.
There are matchups where my Unison will sit there with like 8 markers because I barely ever do the minus on it. I'll swing to threaten to pull out a negate because people will negate it if they're scared of the minus, but I normally never minus because I'm too busy plussing to play this guy.
Right.
But this guy's a free negate. The deck lacks defense, so I need to make up for that with free negates. And Dispo's really good. Also, I mean, comes up if I negate a leader swing, and for some reason they were going to swing again with their leader, they can't.
Yeah, it's relevant against Crimson if they restand with Gohan Beast. Absolutely.
Exactly. Or if for some reason I play against Meki Kabura, triple tack leader.
Yep.
So for super combos, I play a little bit of a split. I play 3 Raditz. I would play 4 of the in-archetype super combo, but I need Raditz because you can't play these.
Right, putting them back into your deck is very important.
Yeah, you need to bottom deck them, especially this one. These ones you can play from your hand. It's not optimal, but you can.
Right.
This guy you can't, so you need this card.
Mm-hmm.
And then I play 1 Jiro. Jiro is just the new guy that's like 2 or more Z energy, a Z leader, or a Z battle card, and play draw 1. Right. He's recyclable with this. That's why I play this. Gotcha. So it's just nice to get them back. To Deluge, it's Deluge. 1 Gohan SGR. This card's cuttable. It didn't really come up at all today. In testing, it was always really nice, but it's all right. I like the little combo that you can swing, neg something 25, combo this tap 1, negative 15, kill any SCR in the game, pretty much.
Gotcha.
But it didn't really come up today. You have 3 token negates. They're just token negates. I mean, not much to say.
Solid defense.
1 Dark Broly for when I'm pushing through, and my SCR choice is Pan Time Patrol Maiden.
Interesting choice. Just because it's free, or
yeah, it's a free floodgate, this card. So I prefer this over Vegeta. I tested Vegeta for like 2 weeks when I first started the deck. Horrible. It's not good in this deck.
Yeah, it costs a lot of energy.
Yeah, exactly. You'd rather tap and spam these guys out. Like, getting like a ton of attacks with these guys is way more valuable than playing Vegeta. This card, after I've swung with this like 5 times the previous turn and then panning them the next turn, just wins games pretty much. It's like Diet Baby Hatch pretty much. I mean,
right, for any deck.
Card's insane.
Yeah, so before we go to the Z deck, why don't you run us through that combo with your 7 drop and the villainous card?
Yeah, so let me pick up some of these real fast. So the 7 drop. Basically, you go Union Absorb with this one. You have to eat these from the drop area. Remember, they have to be in the drop. So there have been times where I misplayed and I would play this guy before they're in the drop, and I'm playing into blue, and then I'm like, oh man, this can get Beerus Realm now. So remember, they have to be in the drop. And then you play this guy. So the way that this works is you swing with this guy. He has dual attack when he swings. So dual attack goes into pending. Regardless if he loses it during the battle, like if I were to get Final Flash or something, because some people have been asking that ruling, it still restands at the end because dual attack is in pending. You can't negate pending autos unless it's like petrification.
Right.
You combo the 13 from under it. It now loses its dual attack. So whatever you leave it at 30k. I barely ever throw extra combos on this because I'm already taking so much out of my opponent's hand. It restands at the end. You then use this to tuck itself under this to add this one back to your hand. And now because it has a new 13, it has a new dual attack. So it gets 2 more attacks.
Wow, that is actually really insane. I never really realized that interaction before. Do you feel like the villainous 13 needs to be at 3, or do you think 2 is just fine for how often you're able to pull it off?
It's limit 1, so I wouldn't play it at 3.
Gotcha.
I have actually debated playing it at 3. Like if you want to cut,
maybe the Gohan.
What was it? The Gohan SCR for a third one. I mean, you're more than welcome to, because it's very useful. But remember, the green yellow can recycle this.
Gotcha.
So it's like you can get it back, and most of the time, if you're doing this twice, you're killing your opponent.
Yeah, that is a really crazy play.
It's not really super necessary. So normally, I'm able to, if it's going in, if I've played a Unison the previous turn and it lives through, which happens a lot of the time, I can normally put 2 of these guys on the board with one of them having triple, one of them having double. I can get 5 30k double strike neg 25 cards, swings in 1 turn.
Wow.
And like I said, into red, which I played mostly red today, it gets under Violent Rays. So
yeah, that is definitely super insane. Let's take a look at the Z deck.
Yes, for sure. So the Z deck is mostly simple. I mean, I've got Surmounting, in case I ever need to pull a life so my token negates are online. I've got 3 rush attacks. Definitely don't play less than 3. I've actually had to play all 3 sometimes. Because if for some reason you can't close it out with these guys, then you just spam rush attacks if you ever hit turn 6. You literally just go rush attack, rush attack, rush attack, and most decks can't live against that. I play 2 of the Tag Team of Terror, or sorry, Team Up Terrors. So this guy is really good late game. Like, I don't ever play this guy early game. If you have a red, if you have this one on the field, he is a 1/3. He's dual attack, and when he swings, he combos an android from the drop area skills negated. An android, not a 5k. You can combo the Zero.
Gotcha.
So you can combo the Zero, make him a 25k. He restands because he's dual attack. He gains barrier to the end of the next turn, and he's a dual blocker. Because when he blocks, he restands himself. So there have been games where I force my Gogeta opponent to Z-Awaken, and then I'll just go tap 1, play a dual blocker. And now they've only really got their leader swing to work with.
Right.
And I'll just go block, and then I'll combo just in case they have like an overwhelm to play because Broly can't hit through barrier, and then I'll block whatever the next attack is. So, yeah, this guy's actually insane. And then obviously the Z leader.
Gotcha, man. Well, this list is really cool, and I gotta say you've reinvigorated my desire to try out this deck. So, overall, any shout outs you want to throw out there?
Yeah, shout out to Nelson for getting me wanting to play the deck. So shout out to him. And then shout out to the whole of, VSA. They all help me, at our locals. They just help me play test everything. The Discord, I can play in the monthly tournaments, and it's just constantly testing with this. So I mean, it's just like shout out to everyone, especially like Chris and Nasif, who are always like telling me like play more of this, less of this. Like I used to play 3 of this and 2 dispos, but the 3 dispos came up because even if they got rid of my unit, it's the 1 cost negate that comes up. So it's like just shout out to them. Thank you for helping me a lot. Do you want me to run over the side deck?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yeah, go for it.
No problem. Yeah. So my side deck's a little weird. This is something that they always tell me like that I'm dumb for playing a bunch of weird cards. So we'll go over a couple normal ones. My King Piccolo's Underling. It's my for blue. But for my, I play Shu, King Piccolo's Underling.
This card actually is really good.
Yeah, this hits a 5k or less, so it doesn't hit a lot of things, but the decks that it does hit, it's really good. I sided this mostly for Kai today, or for blue, because it hits defending friends.
Yep.
And it hits Kai of Time Negate. So this card's actually really good for helping you live through stuff. I also sided Pilaf Missile. This card's insane. I love this card. I get told by friends all the time, dude, you're negging 2 to play this card. I'm like, so what if they resolve their like blue topo or their bupo? I'm already negging 2 cards out of hand. Why not neg 2 cards and stop the floodgate?
Right.
And being my leader. So it's like, this card's insane because it's free. I could play Omen, which is 1, but it's 1 and I crit a life. I could play Denial of Hope, that costs 2. I'd rather it be free in this deck.
Yeah, if you get the tempo going and you're not floodgated, I mean, sometimes it is worth it in the right scenario.
No, yeah, this card alone won me my game against Gamma, because Gamma, he tapped 2 for the topo negate, or for the Android 14 negate, and I just went, yeah, peel off missile, being my leader, and he didn't have anything else he could have done that turn because I had like 2 Mize on the field.
Right.
I side 2 Wolfangs for the red matchup so I can hit the rush tax. I side 2 Corn Tower. This is for like low to the ground aggro decks, so beating my leader and then possibly beating again if I'm a Z leader, going to 25 base is really good against some decks. Also, AOD, just kill Bobbity.
Right.
Smile at them. 2 Koitsukai. And then 1 Bardock fully unleashed. This card was mainly for Kai in here. But I sided against Yellow Sin Shenron when I played it earlier today, and it won me the game because I deleted his 9-drop and then was able to do my whole thing from there.
Gotcha, man. Well,
that's a side deck.
We already did shoutouts, so because I did things out of order, but that's okay. Huge congratulations, man, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Hope you have a wonderful day. It's been a pleasure, Joey.